Welcome, everyone. And I would like to take a moment to talk to y'all about what it's like starting over at the age of 50 and becoming widowed and completely starting over again. And my name's Kimberly Shipley, everyone, and welcome to my channel. But first, I'd like to explain at the age of 50, I became widowed. My husband was 52. He died of a cardiac arrest. And let me tell y'all, after he passed away, I will tell you, if you're become widowed already, or for whatever reason you're watching this video, I just wanted to explain a little bit about first, as soon as you become widowed, you're going to go through a lot of emotions. Some of mine, you'll blame your spouse for leaving you. So there'll be some anger there. And of course, devastation of sadness. And you're going to grieve for a while. And after you do that and the grief is over, then you're going to start thinking about your life. And of course, it's going to be a life without your spouse being there no longer with you. So definitely you're going to suffer some changes. Personally, I did. And so again, this is after the grief process. And after you went through and processed that all the way, and I'll repeat this one more time, it's going to be a lot of different emotions you'll have. For one, again, anger. You're going to be angry at your spouse for leaving you. And for just, they can't help it, of course. Mine was a sudden loss. And sometimes your loss isn't so sudden like mine, like he had a cardiac arrest. And, sometimes our spouse passes away due to a car wreck, and that's a sudden loss. But sometimes, there's time, maybe your spouse is terminally ill, and you knew for a while they were going to pass away. So regardless of the situation, whether you have time to think about their death, or if it's sudden like my husband's was. So that being said, after you'll go through that grieving. But now let's talk about once the grieving's over. Once you have processed that through your mind, and sometimes that takes months. Mine took a while. Mine took a few months. My husband will be gone 2 years this Christmas Eve. He passed away on Christmas Eve of 2024, which right now it's 2026, April of 2026. So he'll be gone almost 2 years. And my life has tremendously changed since the passing of my husband. And let me share with you how our life changes. I was age 50, and how my life has changed, and how your life is going to probably change as well as we grow without our spouses. Right now, I'm pretty much living a completely different life than I lived with my spouse. And I want to share why. What changes I made in my life to be able to live that completely different life. For one, after my spouse passed away, I wanted things around my home to be different. Because looking at my home the way it was, for one, and little things too, whether it's our bed covers, to change and get new ones, I consider a small thing. New furniture, a home makeover. Mine, I felt like was so much needed, because I couldn't walk in here daily and look at the same things that we shared together. That helped me more getting through my life. I had to make those dedicated changes. And after my husband has passed away, the way I look at it and the way I see it, we're not living the same life we had with our spouse when they was alive. And when they're gone, we have to go through a new life. You know, I'm only at that time 50. I'm now 52. The same age my husband actually was when he passed away. It's been almost, again, 2 years for me. I have been going through this process a while now. And you, the person watching this, may be new to this. You may have recently lost your spouse. And that's hard. That's hard going through a new life and making a new life for yourself. But that is one thing that's really helped me personally. 2 years later, I needed that change in my life. I needed to make everything completely different around here because I needed nothing to look the same because I knew he wasn't coming back. And I needed stuff to be just completely, again, different. I needed to look at our bed and, again, have completely different bed covers. I needed to look in the living room and it be completely changed. I've completely remodeled, for example, my home, which my home was paid for. And, you know, that part, I've been very fortunate and blessed that my home's paid for. But I decided I need that change in my life. So I've been remodeling my home, make it look new again. Of course, my home is an example, 26 years old. But I needed that home to be new again. I needed that change in my life. Since I'm now the age of 50 years old, well, I'm 52 now, but I'm just saying I was 50 when he passed away. I needed to make that change in my life. And the reason why I need to follow with this change is because he is no longer here with us. I need to have things different because I still, for the ever how long the Lord has me on this earth, whether it's tomorrow or whether I live to be 100 years old. If I lived right now to be 100 years old, I will spend 50 years without my husband being on this earth. And there is no way I can go and look at the same stuff that we had together. Of course, pictures, sentimental things. And what I mean by the same stuff is just items around the home. I needed that change in my life. Excuse me. I really needed that change in my life to be able to move on, go forward. And again, ever how many years I do have left on the earth. Let's just say I live to be old. Even the next 25 years is going to be without my spouse. If I live to be 75, it will be without him. And I needed that change because that helped my grieving process, even to this day, 2 years later, making this change in my home. That really helped a whole lot with this process of grieving. And now it can help me get by daily in my life. You know, a lot of things for us, I will say, after losing our spouse, even besides surrounding changes, you know, our finances probably will change. We don't have the spouse's income no more. Insurance could change because due to the fact that maybe we had insurance where our spouse worked. My spouse was actually still working when he passed away. And again, I was young. I mean, I consider me being 50 and him being 52 young. We was not retirement age or, for SSI or anything like that. So, I mean, Social Security, we was not at that age at all. So, yeah, there's a lot of things we lose, when that takes place and when our other half dies, our spouse does. And this goes for losing, if a man is losing his wife or, anybody out there losing their spouse, period. You know, whichever if it's a male or female losing their opposite and their spouse. This process is hard for anybody, and not just for example, like I'm a woman, I lost my husband. This is for anybody grieving in the process of losing their spouse. It's hard. And again, I will say, we have the loss of income. We have the loss of insurance. And there's a lot of things, losing an income sometimes maybe we might lose cars. We might lose our home even in that process. I was fortunate. I did. But there's some people out there that's not so fortunate. And that's some kind of changes that, happens to people in their life when they lose spouses. Of course, I'm giving my own personal testimony and experience out there and hoping maybe it can help and reflect with others. That when you lose your spouse in the beginning, you're going to go through the grief and, again, the emotions and stuff from grieving. But you're not realizing the changes that will be made in the future. And that's hard. That truly is hard on any individual out there that's lost their spouse. When we go through these changes or life changes we have to make around the home, because we got to live for whatever remaining years we have left on the earth without them. And if changing your home, your environment, or even moving to a different home, or changing your vehicle, or whatever is needed, if that makes you feel more better, which for me it did, it helped me a whole lot to make these changes. I don't never talk about this much, but I had to make those changes. And this is something, if you're watching this and you've lost your significant other, this is something that you may want to think about doing. Because we got to live the rest of these years, ever how long that it, again, we have on the earth. We've got to live these years without our spouse. And we got to move forward and keep going and be strong, knowing, of course, they're not with us. And again, I don't know how many more years I have here. It could be tomorrow. And, I'm 52. If I live to be 100, I have 48 more years here on this earth. And I'm just giving a far out number. I could be 73. I could be 62. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it could be tomorrow. I can't answer that. I can't answer how long I have, and nobody can. It has always read in the Bible that we're not promised tomorrow, and I believe that's true. We're not promised tomorrow. We all hope we have plenty of years left. But again, I feel like those changes was needed in my life. And forever how many years I do have here on earth, I can look at these changes and it helps me live and keep going forward every day without my true love in my life. Now, does that mean I ever want to remarry? No. Personally, myself, I'm not looking to ever remarry. I mean, but I don't know what life will bring, but is it the plan of right now? No. But this is how I'm moving forward. You know, it only being 50 years old, and I didn't get to grow old with my husband. This is how I see myself moving forward. I needed to make those changes in my life. So again, a lot of things, I've remodeled my home, bought new furniture, even bought a new bed. You know, I've still got my same bed, but I had to buy new bed sheets, new comforters. My bedroom has kind of been a change of environment as well. I've redone a lot of stuff in my home, a lot of construction on my home. I've even bought a new car and sold a car. And I had to make those changes. I didn't discuss it with a lot of people, but personally myself, to get by in life, to be able to go forward without him, those changes had to be made. Just know if you have lost a spouse, you're not alone. You know, there's a lot of us out here that has lost a spouse. And just know if you have lost yours, it is hard. This process is not easy, but know you're not alone. I want to thank you for joining me. And I just wanted to let y'all know what it's been like for me and what changes I have made and done after I lost my spouse. And it's kind of nice getting to make these changes and making my life completely different than the way it was when we was together, while he was here with me. That helps me focus and get by every day. Thank y'all for joining me. Bye-bye, everyone.